So we didn't finish the last sentence. Before I started recording this video, I checked the marginal notes. Inter seis to one another, spiritus the glosses. The text glosses as breath and caeli open air. The breath, so this would suggest that the reading would be, I just have to find the section for it, was often closed off from the breath of the open air. I think probably just the air of the open, or the air outside the ship. That's how I would understand it, or at the moment, until I figure out a better way of reading it. So we'll go back to the beginning of the sentence. Moreover, sometimes, so that the ships could carry as many of them as possible, they were chained to one another and forced to lie on their backs days and nights on end, with only very little space left to them. Ubi, I'm not sure what ubi does here. Probably in a place where few of them could exert themselves, exercise perhaps move around, exercise, in succession, alternative in turn, quorum whose torture, agony, when a storm came up, was very great. Tempestate, I think, is storm. Tempestate. Storm, yes. Presumably because they had very little room between one another. Maybe they bumped into each other in this crowded space. Tum enim foris omnibus clausis vix respirare poterant. For then everyone outside, foris, I'm a little bit confused by this, could hardly breathe. Oh, in the gangway, okay. It's a noun for shut up in all the gangways, or for everyone shut up in the gangways, perhaps. I'm not sure what a gangway is. Let me just look it up. Gangway. That's what I thought it was. How does that? Not sure what that means. 40s gangway. Okay. Klaus is shut up. So everyone shut up. For everyone shut up in the gangway. I'm not quite sure. I don't understand that part. Vix respirare poterant. Could hardly breathe. And many moriebantur. Is that died? Mori or perished? Bantur. Yes. And many would perish. Quo modo saepe factum. Oh, I'll read the sentence again. This is a longer one. Quin etiam interum ut naves quam plurimos potarent inter se vinculis iuncti supini dies noctesque iacere coacti sunt spatio minimo tantum relicto mi pauci vice alterna se exercere possent, quorum curciatus tempestate cohorta maximus erat, tum enim foris omnibus clausis vix respirare poterant, utique moriebantur. Quomodo saepe factum est ut vivi vinculis retenti inter motos iacere congerentor, donec postero die nautae solverent mortuos corporaque in mare abicerent. Oh, this sounds abhorrent. Yeah. No wonder this passage is called Evils of the Slave Trade. It was indeed evil. In this way, it often came about that the living, I think, held in their chains, retenti, oh no, it's French. What am I looking? Retentus. Restrained, I think that. Restrained by their chains, were forced to lie among the dead until the next day. The sailors released the dead, probably carried them away, and threw their bodies in the sea. So probably relieved them of the dead. So they did not value human life, that's for sure. Quomodo saepe factum est ut vivi vinculis retenti inter mortuos iacere cogerentor, donec postero die nautae solverent mortuos corporaque in mare abicerent. Now there was one part I wasn't quite sure. I think it was this sentence. The other part's fine, I think. Let's see. Yeah, just this part, I think. Probably where few could exercise themselves, or were able to exercise in turn. I suppose that because they were so cramped together, the two people lying next to each other couldn't move at the same time, otherwise they would bump into each other. So they had to take turns. At least that's how I understand it, although my translation might not be able to reflect my more accurate understanding of it. Well, that's as best as I can make it out. So let's get. When I do the translation, I might have a clearer picture of what it's saying. But I think it's good enough for my purposes. Let's go through the text. Gentes quae Africam inculunt, quondam inter se saepe dimicabant, captivique anogotoribus empti, navibus in terras sunt transportati diversas, ubi dominis novis traditi summis laboribus, aetatem in agris agebant, dum autem navigant, condicio captivorum miserrima erat, nam traditum est dominos qui quaestum volebant facere, quam maximum neque aliud curabant, valetudini salutique servorum operam minimum dedisse, qui igitor miseri in locis angustis foedisque, procul a luce caelique spiritu saepa claudebantur, qui netiam interdum ut naves quam plurimos portarent inter se vinculis iuncti, supini dies noctesque iacere coacti sunt, spatio minimo tantum relicto, umi pauce vice alterna se exere possent. quorum cruciatus tempestate cohorta maximus erat, tum enim foris omnibus clausis, vix respirare poterant, multique moriebantur. Quomodo saepe factum est, ut vivi vinculis retenti inter mortuos jacere cogerentur, donec postero die naute solverent mortuos corporaque in mare abiceret. So, as I read this over again, I realized that my understanding of this part is probably not the best. Tum enim foris omnibus clausis vix respirare poterant. So this part is saying they could hardly breathe, probably as a result of all of the shut-up gangways. I'm not sure how that... Does that mean that it left less room for them, which made the air less pleasant and less wholesome to breathe? Foris omnibus. Let's have a quick look. Foris clausis. Perhaps this is not very helpful, is it? Clausis foribus. Falter be weak. Probably doors. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? I'm not sure how clausis. Let's just double check on this. I'm pretty sure that means closed. Clausis. That's a spelling mistake. Probably once all the doors were shut up. Closed. Enclosed, that would make sense. Probably, on rereading this, I think the sense is something like, then, once all of the gangways, all the doors, were shut up, they could hardly breathe. That would make sense, but I'm not sure what it means, foris omnibus clausis. Probably because the space was shut off from the outside, which meant that they had less air to breathe, so it was a struggle for them to breathe properly. That was probably very, very stifling in the space. Maybe quite hot with all the bodies inside. Anyway, not very nice picture, is it? I think that's good enough. I'll use a sense like that in my translation unless I think of something better. Alright, I'll probably put the translation in the description, or I'll put it in a pinned comment. Okay, thank you.